This is Flashpoint.
Thanks for joining us for a special edition of Flashpoint. I'm Sarah French, filling in for Ben. Today we have a special episode for you focused on domestic violence, as October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Here are three staggering statistics. 1 in 3 women will be impacted by sexual assault or domestic violence during their lifetime. 1 in every 4 girls and 1 in every 6 boys will be sexually assaulted before their 18th birthday. In the U.S., 3 women are killed every day by an intimate partner. And today we're talking with local organizations about what to look for and how you can help. Joining us today is Karen Parker, the president and CEO of Safe Alliance. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning.
So first, for someone who's watching who doesn't know what Safe Alliance is, how would you explain it?
Safe Alliance provides domestic violence and sexual assault services here in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, and we work to provide wraparound services. So we do everything from shelter to helping people get protective orders, to providing counseling, to advocating for them and helping them safety plan. So we really want to work with people throughout the process so that they can heal during their journey.
How would you explain domestic violence for someone watching who thinks, well, that could never happen to me or someone that I know?
Well, we do know that it can happen to anyone, and it really is about power and control. That's the thing to keep in mind. Sometimes there are bruises, but sometimes there aren't. It really is something where you see one person taking control over another one. It can be very coercive. It can be where one person has control over where the other person goes, or what they wear, or what they eat, anything like that. So we're really looking more for control than we are for the physical injuries.
Talk about all the different programs that you have.
Well, we have our shelter, which is a domestic violence shelter. And actually during the pandemic, we've been operating both a shelter and a hotel facility so that we can have social distancing. We also have an office called Victim Assistance, where we help people get protective orders. And we have an office in Lake Norman. And then we have our Sexual Assault Center, which is in Uptown Charlotte. And that's where we help victims of sexual assault. So we have a range of services, from counseling to advocacy to, from the immediate crisis all the way through the issue, dealing with the issue.
Talk about how the pandemic has affected domestic violence victims.
Well, when the pandemic first started, we saw a 45% increase in our calls to our hotline. And that was because a lot of people were trying to figure out where they could go and not be stuck with a perpetrator in a house. And so we answered a lot of calls then. We saw the calls getting much more complicated because in addition to dealing with domestic violence, people were dealing with issues around maybe having to work from home, or maybe having to have their children at home from school. And so that just compounded the issues. And so our hotline calls that used to take 10 or 15 minutes were then starting to take 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So the issues just became a lot more complicated during the pandemic.
You were talking about some of the signs of domestic violence, that controlling, what are you wearing, where are you? What should parents be looking out for when it comes to our kids?
Well, it's important for parents to look for a change in personality, or maybe your child is becoming more isolated. Isolation is a big, big piece. Perpetrators like to isolate victims because then they have more control over them. So it's important to think of it that way. You do want to watch cell phones. You want to watch, where your kids are going, who they're with. Also, you want to watch if there is any kind of injury or something that was unexpected that came up, and the teenager seems to be making excuses for their boyfriend or their girlfriend. You want to look for things like that.
And isn't it true, it takes a victim like 7 times before they actually leave their abuser?
Yeah, that's true, because, abusers aren't bad all the time. Sometimes they're very charming, sometimes they're very loving. And so a lot of times victims will go back hoping that things are going to change. And it's very normal for a person to return to an abusive relationship and to come back out of it. And one thing we always tell people is that we're here for you anytime, no matter how many times you've gone back. You can always come to us when you need help.
And you have a big event coming up. Tell us about that.
We do. We have our annual Breakfast of Hope, and that is something we do every year. It's going to be virtual this year, and we invite people to come and join us. We have Rachel Brooks, who is a sexual assault survivor. She wrote a book called Beads, and she's going to be our keynote speaker. Bank of America is presenting for us, and we're really excited. People can sign up to be a champion of hope, and that means that you can ask your friends to donate on a fundraising page and help us raise dollars for Safe Alliance, and that helps make sure that we stay stable through the year and that we're able to answer the call, even during a pandemic, to victims all over the community.
So finally, I want to ask you, for people watching, how can they help? If they know someone that they think might be a victim of domestic violence, or maybe they're suffering from this themselves, what do you suggest they do?
Well, if you know someone who's dealing with domestic violence, definitely reach out and start a conversation. They may not be ready to open up to you right now, but it's important for them to know that you care. And it's important for you to believe them and to listen without judgment and to offer resources. So offer a hotline number, let them know that there are services available, because many people don't realize that services are there and that we're here 24/7 until they are in that situation. So we always try to educate the community so that there are a lot of people out there who know about us and can reach out to a friend or family member when they need us the most.
And Karen, what is that hotline number for you guys?
It's the Greater Charlotte Hope Line, and the number is 980-771-HOPE, and that's HOPE is 4673.
Karen, thank you so much. Such a pleasure speaking with you today, and thank you for all the work that you do in our community.